So here we are, guys, another video. I'm 26 years old. I had been dabbling, doing drugs all my life up until the age of 26. Always wanting to better my life. Even though I was doing drugs, I still was always never wanting to do drugs. The only reason why I did drugs and alcohol was just because I was so depressed, and it just relieved the stress of what was going on in my head. A lot of racing thoughts, and it calmed the thoughts. So I always wanted to do drugs, but maintain a normal life at the same time, which was never possible, obviously. But I remember I'm at my mother's house. I'm living there. I don't remember the job situation or much of that, but what I do remember is I was broke. No money. When I say no money, I didn't have $2. I had no car, no job. Oh, this was around 2008 when jobs were scarce. It was like the recession, right? Very hard to get a job at this point. No money at all. And I'm thinking, I'm in California. I want to go to the beach. I want to go eat some food. I want to take a cab. So this is before Uber. I want to jump in a cab, go somewhere. I'm trying to get some money. I need some money now, fast. This is not working out. And I didn't know what to do. I don't remember exactly. I had lost my eBay. My eBay, I had relapsed and then not sent out some items from eBay, and then eBay shut my account down for not sending out items. So I think that was my main source of income at the time. I don't remember. But I just remember being very, very depressed, not having any money, wanting a beer, not even having money to go and get a beer. So I put my thinking cap on. I'm like, all right, how can we do this? What can we do to get some money now? And one of the things that I used to do is I used to browse MySpace Music and find new bands to listen to. One of the bands that I found, the band was called Houston Calls. It's kind of like a punk rock alternative type band. Kind of sounded a little bit like Blink 82. And I liked it. At the time, that's what I was into. I was into up-tempo, melodic, alternative music. So Houston Calls was one of the bands that I listened to. Really good band. I liked it. If you guys remember, back in the early 2000s, CD burners were a thing. You could download the music, and then MP3 players were out at the time, but just a regular MP3 player was minimum $100. And not everybody had them. Nowadays, obviously, they're old school technology now, but back then, MP3 players that just came out. But people were still burning CDs. And what you do is you download your music off of onto your hard drive, or you download it from LimeWire, or even Napster was old at that time. But you get your music, you download it, and then you would burn it to a CD. The CD would print out, and then you'd have your CD. So Big Lots sold stacks of they had 50 packs, 100 packs, 200 packs. So what I did is I went to Big Lots, and this was my plan. I'm like, all right, I'm going to take the Houston Calls. I went in the files and I changed the name from Houston Calls, and I changed the name of the band to the Fireworks. And I said, all right, I'm going to go out and I'm going to push these CDs like they're mine. And guys, I don't endorse any of this. I've changed my life around. So these are all stories about before I gave up this lifestyle. I don't steal anymore. I don't do any dishonest stuff, but back then I did. And so these are the stories about it. So my plan is to burn these CDs of Houston Calls, change the file name, change it to my band. My band is called The Fireworks, and I changed all the tracks. I burnt the CDs. I made album covers, and then I printed out the album covers, and you could also buy stacks of CD cases. And so I stuck the album cover in the slot, put the CD in, and I took the bus to Laguna Beach. And I just went around and I said, hey, I'm in a band. It's called The Fireworks. We're blowing up, and this is our CD. Would you like to support us and buy a CD? I must have asked 500 people. Most people would say no before you could even tell them about your music. Like, you could have the best music in the world. Like, people were still going to say no. They don't want to hear it. And I'm like, what is going on? So I'm like, all right. And I had made a few bucks. I think I had sold like $10. But keep in mind, I'm broke. I'm trying to get some money. Like, I need money fast. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to try this new approach. So I go up to people at the gas stations. I'm like, hey, man, what's going on? I said, hey, look, I'm just wondering if you could help me out, man. I'm struggling. Like, can you just help me out with a few bucks? I said, but I'm not trying to get anything for free. I said, look, I'm in a band. It's called The Fireworks. We're blowing up. If you can't help me out with any money, I have my CD, and we worked really hard on this. This has been in production for like 2 years. The CD just finally came out. Would you be willing to support the music if you can't help me out? I'm like, nah, man, nah, keep the CD. Here's a few bucks. So I'm like, oh, that worked. Next person. Hey, excuse me, sir, I hate to bother you. I'm just struggling. I'm wondering if you can help me out with a few bucks. But if you can't, I'm not trying to get anything for free. I don't want you to give me nothing for free. I'm in a band. It's called The Fireworks, and we're blowing up right now. And we've been working on the CD for a few years. If you can't help me out with a few bucks, would you be willing to buy one of the CDs and help out the band, help out the cause? Oh, yeah, I'll buy a couple CDs. How much are they? Oh, they're 15. All right, here's a 20. Keep the change. Cool. So then, boom. So most people didn't want the CDs, but it seemed like everybody just to get me away or just to help me out. It was like it changed the narrative. At this point, I'm not a beggar. At this point, I'm a creative musician. So when I approached people, it was just different. The vibe was different. I'm not coming off as a beggar anymore. I'm coming off as a creative artist, and it changed everything. So this started working. So I started going places, and I was really doing well. Like, so if I was by myself without a vehicle, I think I'd make like 100 to 150. But I see potential here, right? So I take it to the next level. Keep in mind, guys, I don't advise doing this, but I did. I'm ashamed of the things that I did, but this is the story. So what I do is I need a driver. I decide that going to gas stations on the 5 freeway, because the gas stations on the 5 freeway in Orange County and towards Long Beach area, these are gigantic, big, busy gas stations. So I'm like, my target is people at gas stations, because everybody has a CD player in their car. So if I can approach people at gas stations, they can put this, because a lot of times people they'd put the CD in to check it out before they bought it. So that's where I wanted to be, but I didn't have a car, so I couldn't drive to the gas stations. I didn't have a way to get around. So I came up with a plan. I got on Craigslist, and under the wanted section, so sometimes if you went under the wanted section, it would say wanted, driver needed for this, we need a driver to do that, and so I always saw driver positions open. So what I did is I went under the wanted section and I put wanted. I need a driver to go from Orange County to Long Beach and back. So most of the driving is going to be just back and forth on the freeway. We're going to be stopping at various locations, and the pay rate is I will fill your gas tank, and I will give you when I first started, I think I said $75. I eventually upped it, but in the beginning it was $75 and a full tank of gas. And so people would say, well, what if I have 2 cars? What if it's my truck? What if, and I said, look, it doesn't matter what the vehicle is. If it's a truck, if it's a van, it doesn't matter what it is. I will guarantee you get a full tank no matter what the vehicle is, plus $75. And they're like, well, what if my tank is already half full? I said, well, burn some of the gas. I said, the deal is the tank is full, whether it's no gas or whether it's a quarter gas or 3/4 of a tank. I will fill the tank before you drop me off at the end of the day. So I start getting calls. And so people would pick me up and they'd say, all right, what are we going to do? I'd say, all right, I'm a musician. My band is called The Fireworks, and I'm just promoting my music right now. So I need you to bring me to a gas station. And then when we're done at that gas station, we're going to go to the next gas station, and I'm just promoting my CD. And which that is what I was doing, but I didn't tell them that I was also glorified panhandling at the same time. Because they would just sit in the car and I'd walk around to the gas pumps, and so, I mean, eventually they caught on, but a lot of people thought it was a great idea. They're like, wow, that's a really smart thing. A lot of people, sometimes people would just leave me, like they saw what I was doing and they just leave and I'd be stranded at the gas station. That happened quite a few times. But then eventually what happened is I would meet somebody and then they'd be like, hey, this worked out great. Let's do it again tomorrow. And then we'd just go like on these missions and we just go everywhere. We go to Vegas, and so eventually I'd have like these part-time drivers and they ended up becoming my friend. And like, I remember this guy, Bill. Bill was an old guy. Before the recession, he would install POS systems inside of restaurants. So restaurants, not all, like nowadays you go to a restaurant, everything's touchscreen, but back in the day, not every restaurant had a touchscreen system. So one of the new things was upgrading all of the old systems to new POS systems. And so Bill made a fortune installing these POS systems. But then once the recession hit, I guess something happened to where, I don't know, like he got laid off. I don't remember what the deal was, but he wasn't selling POS systems anymore and he was broke. And he was on Craigslist looking for work. Well, at the time I was trying to be a professional gambler, professional poker player. So all the money that I made hustling with CDs was all going to the casino in Texas Hold'em. Well, when I met Bill, Bill had lost all his money from playing blackjack. So the money that I was giving Bill for going around with the gas stations, he was going to the casino with that. Well, I was going to go to the casino too. So with me and Bill, it just worked out. We're like, okay, we're going to do this. And eventually got to the point where me and Bill got so tight that whatever we sold, we just split. There was no more gas. And so the reason why I would give a full tank of gas was because a lot of times people would say, hey, because I would say, oh, we need gas. So a lot of times people would say, hey, I don't have any cash, but if you pull your Bill had a van, if you pull your van up to our pump, I'll fill your tank. And believe it or not, that would happen every day, multiple times. So sometimes the gas tank would be full. Somebody would say, hey, I'll fill it, but we already had a full tank. So, and I knew that would happen. That's why I would always guarantee the full tank, because it was just a no-brainer. It would always happen. Like there was never a time that it didn't happen, because most people don't carry cash, believe it or not. So me and Bill are just working as a team. We're splitting it 50-50. Usually, I would say we're clearing about 300 plus gas, plus all the extra stuff we're getting. Like people were giving us snacks and waters and sodas and gift cards. People were really generous, and I didn't like lying to people. Even back then, even though I was a scumbag back then, I didn't like lying to people. So when people said, what do you need the money for? I always, like, some people would be like, I gotta pay rent. I didn't like to say any of that. I didn't feel comfortable lying to people. So when somebody asked me, what is the money for? I'd say, what's the money for? Everything. Well, what's the money going to? Well, why do you need the money? I'm just having a rough day. So, and then sometimes I'd bump into people I'd bump into people 2 days later that gave me money 2 days before. And they'd be like, hey, I saw you out here asking for money 2 days ago. What are you doing? This is a scam. And I'd say, what did I tell you last time? I said I was having a rough day, right? They're like, yeah. And I said, I'm having a rough day today too, which it was. Every day was rough because I was gambling and drinking and doing drugs, so it's always rough. So I wasn't lying when I said I'm having a rough day. That's why I like using that phrase, because I was never lying, but I was keeping it simple enough to where I didn't have to come up with some crazy explanation. You know, what's the gas for? It's for everything. Where are you going? Everywhere. You know, like I didn't like making up elaborate stories, because I did have a conscience, but I also had a gambling addiction. And when you have a gambling addiction, you lose a lot of morals, you lose a lot of self-respect, and gambling is just as bad as drugs, maybe even worse, because with gambling, with drugs, you don't gain anything. You get a high, you get to feel good. But the difference is with gambling is that if you win, you get real money that can change your life. Doing some coking gonna change your life. That's the difference with gambling. So it took me a long time to stop gambling. So I'm working with Bill, and Bill, like I said, before the recession, he was making a lot of money. So what Bill would do is he would always go to Vegas with his money, and he'd stay at the Stratosphere. The Stratosphere is the Space Needle. It's at the end of the Strip. The reason why he stayed at the Stratosphere was because they let you pay cash. It was like one of the only ones. I think they still let you pay cash. It's like one of the only ones that would let you pay cash. And so that's why he stayed there. Well, since Bill was a baller, he was making a lot of money with the POS systems, and he'd spend all his money at the Stratosphere. So the Stratosphere looked at Bill as a big-time loser, gambler. So they would comp him free rooms. He got two free rooms, Saturday and Sunday, or Friday and Saturday, whatever it was. But he got 2 nights a week. So what happened is during the recession, when he wasn't making any more money, the Stratosphere was still giving him rooms because they considered him still a loyal customer, even though he wasn't losing nearly as much. They still considered him a good customer. So Bill had his room. So what we would do is, on the weekends, me and Bill would go to Vegas, stay at the Stratosphere, even if we and so what we do is we would go to Vegas and we'd stop at every gas station, and then, you know, the big gigantic Chevron, it's like the biggest Chevron in the world. It's at the I think it's a state line, or right before you get into Vegas. I think there's like 100 pumps there. So we'd hit that one, and when I'm on one side doing the CD thing, getting money, by the time I hit the other side, there's already new people on the other side, so I can just go back and forth until I get kicked out. And even when I got kicked out, I just leave and go back. And it was a cat and mouse game always. I was always getting kicked out, but at the good gas stations, it's like I had to go back because the money was there. So even though I get kicked out, like I started learning the employee schedule. Like, okay, that person's gonna kick me out. That person's not gonna kick me out. Oh, that guy's cool. So I was on the schedule of, you know what I mean? Like I had it worked out. So me and Bill would hit all the gas stations until we got to that one. We'd make a bunch of money there, and then we'd go to the Stratosphere, and then once we get to the Stratosphere, we'd start gambling. I would go to, where would I play? It was a cheap game. Where did I play? I played at the Stratosphere, actually. Maybe MGM, I don't remember. But, so anyways, we're doing this, a regular thing, right? And me and Bill, we did this for months, right? A long time. But we started, so Bill was prescribed Loratabs. And at the time, my drug of choice was Klonopin at the time. The reason why is because when I did Klonopins, if I went out and did the CD thing, the panhandling thing, and I was sober, I couldn't do it. It was hard for me to approach people. I couldn't ask people. It was too difficult. Like going up to strangers, asking them for money or to buy a CD is not easy. Like if you're watching somebody do it, it might look easy, but it is not easy. It's intensive. But when I took the Klonopins, the benzos, all that anxiety went away. Then I was Superman. Then I could go ask a million people. It just turned me into the social butterfly where It didn't bother me. I could talk to anybody. I was social. I was free. I was liberated. I could talk to kids. I could talk to adults. I could talk to women. I could talk to men. I could talk to business people. I could talk to bums. I was just great at talking to people. So I start doing the lower tabs with Bill. And the lower tabs, like, I'm not a violent person at all. But when I started doing the lower tabs, it like brought out this anger streak in me. I don't know what it was. But me and Bill would get into arguments, and I'd be like, like ready to fight him. I didn't like that. But so that's what was going on. So, and then sometimes what me and Bill would do is while we were doing the CD gas thing, I would put, because I had a BlackBerry and I could post on Craigslist on my BlackBerry. So I would post on Craigslist, I have a van if you need me to deliver a package, or if you need a ride, or you need something moved or anything, I have a van. You can call me and I'll pick something up or deliver something for whatever, 50, 100, whatever the price was. I would post these ads. And so sometimes me and Bill would be working, and then I'd get a call and somebody would say, hey, can you give me a ride to the airport? A lot of times it was people going to LAX or people going to John Wayne. So me and Bill would stop what we were doing, and it was kind of like a break. If we got one of those calls, it was like, oh, cool. Now we can take a break from the gas station thing and go pick somebody up and, make some legitimate money without stressing ourselves out. And so that would happen from time to time. So we'd pick people up, we'd bring them somewhere, they'd give us $75, me and Bill would split it, we'd go to the casino with it. So me and Bill decide that we're gonna go to Las Vegas for the weekend. Same thing, we had our room at the Stratosphere. Oh, guys, keep in mind, at this time, I didn't have an ID with my name on it. So anytime I wanted to go gambling somewhere, if they ID'd me, I couldn't go. So I was always searching for places that wouldn't ID me. And a lot of times, because I was over the age, I was 26 or 28, whatever it was. But yeah, so that was an increasing problem, not having an ID. Going to casinos and stuff, like I'd have to sneak in a back door or wait until Bill would talk to the security guard, and then I'd sneak around. It was tough. But so mine and Bill's plan is we're gonna go to the Stratosphere. Oh, it was football season, so we were gonna do some betting on some football and have a good time and stay there for a couple days. And then on Monday, we were gonna drive back to California and then hit gas stations all the way back to where I was living in Orange County. So we get to the Stratosphere and we're there, and I had posted an ad on Craigslist, in the Las Vegas Craigslist, for taxi rides. We'll give you a ride, whatever. And so, we ended up getting a call, actually a few calls. So we go and we pick up this guy. He's a business guy, and he says, the guy gets in the van. He says, so have you heard about the sting operations on Craigslist? I'm like, sting operations? What are you talking about, a sting? He's like, yeah. He says the police are busting the gypsy cabs on Craigslist. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, they'll pretend that they're looking for a cab ride, and they'll really be undercovers, and then they bust people because it's taking money away from the cab drivers, and the cab drivers pay the city taxes, and yeah, that's what they're doing right now. I was like, wow. I said, we're from California, and we do this in Orange County and in LA and San Diego. I said, we've done it hundreds of times. I said, we've never had a problem. I said, that's weird. And so I did believe the guy, but I'm like, me and Bill had done this so many times that I felt so comfortable doing it, so it was in the back of my head. And so what I said to Bill is, I said, all right, Bill, I said, what do you think? I said, should we take the ad off? I said, I think we should remove it. And Bill says, no, let's just keep the ad up. I said, all right. I said, we'll keep it up. I said, but, I said, this is what we'll do. I said, if we get a call and then we go to pick the person up, I said, if the person is in, because most police officers, especially the undercovers, they're usually in really good shape. Muscles, athletic, young. So I said, all right, Bill, this is going to be the thing. If we get a call and the person, we go and pick them up, I said, if the person is athletic and in shape and looks real fit, I said, we're going to abort mission and we're not going to do it. He says, all right, deal. He says, that sounds like a plan. That's very smart of you. Let's do that. Should I stop here? I'm on my way to Vegas. That's funny, I'm talking about Vegas and I'm on my way to Vegas. No, I'm not going to stop here. Okay. So we decide that's the plan. If they're in shape, abort mission. So we give like 2 people a ride and everything's going good. And then we get a call. It's these guys. They say, hey, can you pick us up, what was it? At the Golden Nugget. Yeah, they said, can you pick us up at the Golden Nugget and bring us to MGM, which wasn't a very far ride, but they said they'll give us $50, like flat rate. There was 3 of them, they said. We're like, cool, yeah, $50 just to go. I think it was like a 15-minute ride. Yeah, sure, no problem. So, again, if they're in shape, or, 3 guys. If they're in shape, we're going to abort mission. So me and Bill, we go, and we get to the Golden Nugget, and I see the guys. They're like, they said they'd be wearing like flannel shirts or whatever. So we get there, there's 3 of them. These dudes are all in incredible shape, right? You can tell these are gym rats, right? I said, Bill, I said, look at these dudes, man. I said, these guys are all like in shape. I said, what do you think? He's like, no, come on, guys, get in. And I'm just like, oh man. All right, so then they get in, and then after they get in, I'm like, oh, cool, they're in. Not that big of a deal. And then, boom, they all pull out guns. Boom, put your hand on the steering wheel. Put your hands up, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh. So at the time, if you guys remember, there was this show called Locked Up, or it was the jail show, and it was about the Las Vegas jail. The whole TV series was just the Las Vegas jail, Clark County Jail. So I'm like, oh my gosh, and the jail was like bad. It was, it was like the worst jail to go to, right? So busy. And I watched the TV show, and so I remember just being like, my first thought was, I'm going to the Clark County Jail. This is crazy. I was so upset because we were supposed to abort mission, but Bill decided to go along with it because he wanted the $50, obviously. And so that was the plan, was to abort mission. And and I'm thinking, man, I know that I don't have any money, so I'm thinking I don't have any money to bail out. How long am I going to be in the jail? And then when they do let me out, I'm thinking, how am I going to get back to California, right? Man, so it's a bad day, right? They get us out, and this is like a Hollywood movie, guys. I'm saying, you got those 3 with guns. There was like 6 other cars, and they all got guns, and it's a big deal, right? So they get us out, and they're taking our names. They want my ID. I don't have an ID, and they're doing their paperwork. And then the cop, they take the van, they impound Bill's van, which Bill lived in the van. So they essentially take his house. They take Bill's van, and then they give me a ticket. They give Bill a ticket. They said, all right, guys, see you later. I'm like, what? I'm like, all this guns and drama? I'm like, and you're giving us a ticket? Like, what is this? And Bill's pissed. Bill is so mad at me. He was so mad, blaming everything on me. I said, Bill, I wanted to take the ad down. You wanted to keep the ad up. I said, the plan was if they're all in shape, let's abort. I said, they were all in shape. You said, get in. I said, how is it my fault? And he's just swearing. He's so mad about the van. And so the reason why they gave us the ticket and didn't bring us to jail is because this taxi thing, the sting off, this wasn't about cab drivers not having they said it was about a cab driver not having a license, but that's not what it was about. What it was a money grab for the city. So what they would do is they would bust people, they would take their vehicles, and then they would say that their vehicle was evidence in a crime scene, right? And so what they would do is they'd take people's vehicles, keep the vehicle. Okay, Vegas, if you guys don't know about Vegas, Vegas is different from the rest of the country. Vegas has their own set of laws. The rest of the United States, we live under a certain set of laws. Vegas is completely different. Now, on paper, it might say that Vegas abides by a certain set of rules, but it's not true. Vegas is still run by the mob, but the mob being the city council and, you know, like the people in charge of Las Vegas. That's like the new mob. And so it was a money grab. They were just taking people's vehicles, selling the vehicles, and keeping the money. They must have made millions doing this, right? So, yeah, so that's what it was. Bill never got his van back. So now, wow, we're at 31 minutes already. All right, guys, I was going to go with a part 2 of this because part 2 is actually pretty long, but I'm gonna condense it down so this video doesn't become like 2 hours. So Bill is mad. He says, you cannot come back to the Stratosphere and you don't even have an ID. So if you try to come on the property, because if you don't have an ID, you're not even allowed on Stratosphere property. So Bill said, if you try to come back to the room, he says, I'll call security. I'll let them know that you don't have an ID. He says, you're screwed. He says, get lost. I said, Bill, I'm crying. I'm like, Bill, where am I supposed to go? Like, you know, I don't have any money. I'm stuck. He says, it ain't my problem. He says, this is where me and you part ways. He says, I never want to talk to you again. I never want to speak to you again. Bon voyage. Goodbye. So, and that was actually the last time I seen Bill. So here I am, right? I'm stuck in Vegas. I got, what did I have? Oh yeah, I did have a backpack. Yeah. So I had a backpack. Oh, and what I had done is, in California, I had purchased these hats that said Las Vegas, and I had brought like 40 of them with me to Vegas just as like an extra hustle. If I ran out of money, I figured I could go out on the streets and hustle up these Vegas hats to tourists. So that was going to be like my backup hustle. So I got these Vegas hats. I think I got about 6 Laura tabs, and I had a couple of Xanax. And that's all. Oh, and I had my BlackBerry. Yeah, that's right. I had my BlackBerry. And that's all I got, right? So I'm stuck, right? And I don't know what to do. The sun is still out, but it's getting ready to be nighttime, and I'm scared, man. I'm in Vegas. I don't know what to do. So I have my little piece of paper with my charges and my summons, and so I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna go up to people and tell people what happened and see if somebody can help me. So I remember I go up to these 2 guys at the bus stop and say, hey, excuse me, guys. I said, I was in Vegas, and me and my friend put an ad on Craigslist, and the cops did a sting operation on us. They took the van, and I am stranded. Is there any way that you guys can help me? Nah, I'm sorry, can't help you. Okay. So I go up to more people. Excuse me, sir. I'm stranded in Vegas. I was with my friend. We were giving somebody a ride. They did a sting operation on us for giving somebody a ride without a license, without being a taxi. And they took the van, and I said, my friend kicked me out of the hotel room. I'm stranded in Vegas. Is there any way that you can help me? Can't help you. Sorry. I asked so many people for hours, right? Nobody would help me. So I'm like, what am I supposed to do? I've got to figure something out. I need to be resourceful. What can I do? Like, I need to figure this out. So I'm like, okay. I look around, I look at my surroundings. Everybody's partying, everybody's having a good time. I said, okay. I'm going to try something a little bit differently. I had met this black guy who, and we were like talking. He was homeless, he was panhandling, or I don't know what he was doing, but at the time, remember I said I was trying to be a professional poker player. I had a hat, and my hat said Full Tilt Poker. Full Tilt was like the gambling site online that everybody played at. And so I said, hey, can you hold my hat? I don't want to be promoting this poker hat right now. Here's my bag. I said, can you just hold my bag? I said, I just need to be free of these things for a second. I said, I'm going to try something new. He's like, all right. So he's holding my stuff, and I go up to people, and I said, hey, what's up, man? What's going on? I said, nice shoes, bro. Those are sick. Hey, man, can you help me out with a few bucks so I can get wasted? I need to get a beer, man. I need to get messed up. Can you help me out with a few bucks so I can get some tequila? Yeah, here you go, man. Here's like $5. Yeah. Where you from? I'm from California. Where you from? Indiana? Yo, shout out to Indiana. Yeah, Pacers, right? Okay, my boy. Caps, faux show, yeah. And so I start doing that, and people start giving me money, right? I'm like, okay, this seems to be working, right? Yo, what's up, ladies? Where you going? You trying to party? You trying to get frisky? You want to get jiggy with it? Yeah. Hey, girl, you looking fly. You ever thought about modeling? Yo, girl, hey, can you help me out with a few bucks? I'm trying to get wasted. Here you go, sweetie. Here's $5. Oh, you're so funny. Here you go. And so people are giving me money, right? So this changes everything. I'm like, okay, I found my calling in Vegas. I'm now a Vegas hustler. This is what I'm doing. I'm the man now, right? And so I'm getting money everywhere, right? Just, and I'm totally faking it. Like, I'm not happy, but starting to make money, and like once you feel dollar bills start piling up in your pocket, your mood, things start changing when you get a little bit of money, right? Because then I'm like, when I realize this, I'm like, okay, I can support myself. I have a job now. I can go to the store and buy a beer if I want it. I'm good, right? So, I ended up hustling about like $75, whatever it was. I don't remember. Oh yeah. I was trying to get enough to get a hotel, and there was a place. It was like a Best Western or a Motel 6, and I had went in and talked to the front desk, and I told them that I didn't have an ID, but I had the piece of paper with my name on it from the court summons, and they had agreed that I didn't have the money yet, but they had agreed that if I got the money, they agreed that they would rent me a room without an ID. So I'm like, all right, cool, I can get a room. All right, this is gonna be good. So I remember the room was gonna be like 86 or something, I don't know, but I didn't have quite enough. So I decided, all right, I'm gonna go to I'm stopping at Eddie World. I'm gonna go to MGM, and I'm gonna play blackjack and whatever, and try to win like $20 so I can have enough to get this hotel room. Well, I ended up playing blackjack, and I ended up losing. And what did I have? I'm thinking how much money I had. I want to say it was $5. I'm getting brain stuck here, guys. Okay, I don't remember how much money I had, but it was low. I forget. But anyways, okay, so I've got a few dollars left, and the minimum at the blackjack was a $5 minimum. So I don't remember. It was like $3. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go to roulette, because roulette you could bet $1 on a number if you wanted to, 1 through 36. And so I go over there, And usually in California, there's a 0 and a double 0 on the wheel for roulette. But in Vegas, there's only 1 0. It's just one. So so I go and I place my last couple dollars, and the wheel's spinning, and it hits, right? It hits on the 0, right? On my last couple dollars, right? And it pays 36 to 1. What did I want to say it was like $90. I don't remember. It was between like 90 and 100, somewhere around there. So I won, right? And then they give me a ticket. Somehow I got a ticket that showed me. Oh yeah, I remember. They ended up giving me like chips or something, and I traded in the chips, and I got a ticket, and the ticket said however much money I had, right? Keep in mind, I'm familiar with casinos, and so I go to I'm used to going to the cage to cash in my money. They've never ID'd me at a cage ever, so I'm like, yeah, it's fine. So I go up to the cage. This was in MGM. And I go and I give him my ticket for the money. I said, okay, can I see your ID? And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. They're IDing me right now? I've never been ID'd at the cage. I'm like, oh, I'm 26. I don't have it. She goes, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to keep this ticket and this money until you can like provide your age. I said, how am I going to provide my age? I said, I'm stuck in Vegas. Like, how am I going to do this? She's like, I don't know. I'll call security. So security comes over, and I'm like, look, dude, I'm 26. I said, I don't have an ID. They said, okay, well, and I guess this has happened before in Vegas. I'm not the only one. They said, what I have to do is, if I want my money, I have to go down to City Hall, tell them my social security number and my birthday and my name, and then they will print me out a piece of paper that says I'm over 21, and then I can bring that back down to MGM, and then security said they will give me my money at that point. I said, well, when do they close? They're like, they close at 7. And it was like, there was like 30 minutes until they closed. And so I'm like, oh my gosh. So I go out, I said, where's City Hall? And they're like, oh, it's not far. It's this way. And so, but it wasn't like walking distance. Like I had to take a bus, but I couldn't take the bus because it would be like too long. Now at this time, I was in incredible shape. I used to run like 2.5 hours on the treadmill nonstop. At this point, I could have ran a marathon, 10 miles, no problem. And so they're like, oh yeah, it's like 4 miles this way. And so I knew distance-wise, I knew that I could run. I knew that I could run at 7 miles an hour, and I knew that I could run for hours. So I knew that I could run there. And so I ran fast. I ran probably, I don't remember, maybe it was like 3 or 4 miles, but I ran, and I actually made it there. And they had just, like, right when I got there, they had just locked the door. So I'm back, and it wasn't even 7 yet. It was still, there was still a couple minutes till, but they had closed the door early. They locked it. And so I bang on the window. I said, hey, and I'm like showing them my police summons. I'm trying to get their attention. And so one of the ladies comes over. She's like, can I help you? I said, look, I'm stranded in Las Vegas. I said, I'm at MGM. And I said, they won't give me money unless I provide proof that I'm of age. And so they're like, okay, all right, we'll give it. And so they knew what I was talking about, because people come in there and do it all the time. So they gave me the piece of paper. I run back to MGM and I get my money, and and then come to find out, because they said, can I see the piece of paper? And so I accidentally give them the summons. Instead of giving them the paper from City Hall, I accidentally give them the summons for, I gave them both. The piece of paper from City Hall and the police summons from the sting operation. They look at the summons first. They don't look at the piece of paper from City Hall. They look at that, and it says my name and my age on it. They give me my money without even looking at the City Hall thing. So this whole time, I could have given them that summons, and they would have given me the money. So the whole trip to City Hall was worthless. Anyways, so I get the money, and I decide that I want to buy some stuff. I'll get the hotel room later. So I go, and I see this guy. He's wearing this hat. It's like a mafia style hat. He's sitting at the slot machine, and he had a BlackBerry, and that caught my attention. You know how there's another iPhone user. Well, at the time, not everybody used BlackBerries. So I said, yo, you got a I said, look, we got BlackBerry. He's like, yo. He's like, so what you need? And I'm like, what do you mean what I need? He's like, what you need? He's like, I got Yayo. I said, Yayo. And I didn't want Yayo, but I'm like, I just wanted to do something. He's like, you want some? I'm like, yeah. He goes, all right, come to the bathroom with me. So we both go in the stall together, and he says, all right, I'm going to give you some for free so you can try it before you buy it. I said, cool. So he says, yo, can you not look at me right now? He's like, I got a lot of stuff on me right now. Oh, yeah. All right, respect, man, respect. So I turn around, and he undoes his pants. He's grabbing out whatever. And then he takes a baggie, and he dumps a large amount of powder on the toilet paper dispenser, right? He's like, all right, there you go, try it. Yeah, that's a lot more than I thought, right? So, all right, so I do it, and it tasted weird, right? I had done Yayo before, so I knew exactly what it tasted like, and I'm thinking, I don't know, man. And then I felt the drip, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, and it was Yayo. So I'm like, all right, cool. He's like, well, how much you need? And I'm like 40. He's like, all right, yo, bet. So he hands it to me, right? And he dips. He's gone. So I'm still buzzed off the line, and so I sit down at one of the slot machines, and I'm not playing, but if you sit at a slot machine, one of the attendants will come around and give you free drinks. And so I got a free drink, and I'm sitting there. And they had the go-go dancers, so I'm sitting there watching the go-go dancers, and I'm drinking and having a good time, right? Got a little bit of money in my pocket. And the buzz starts wearing off, and so I'm like, all right, I'm going to go back, and I'm going to do a little bit in the bathroom. So I go back in the bathroom, and I'm looking for it, and I can't find it. I'm like, I know I put it in this pocket, right? I'm like, where is it? I'm looking for it. Oh, and when I was there, I was taking breaks. I was going out and smoking, and I was walking around a little bit. And so I'm like, where is it? I can't find it. So I go back to the machine that I was at. It's not there. I'm like, where could it be? I'm like, oh, maybe it's down the street where I walked. So I'm looking on the ground, and it was in a distinct piece of paper. I had wrapped it up like a certain way, so I knew what I was looking for. And I'm looking, and I can't find it. I'm like, dude, I've looked everywhere. Where is this thing? I can't find it. So I'm like, all right, maybe when he gave it to me, maybe it's in the bathroom. Maybe I never put it in my pocket. Maybe it fell out somewhere in the bathroom. So I go back and I look, and I see on the bathroom floor, and this is a dirty bathroom. There's trash like all over the place. And I look, and there it is, tied up just the way I'm like, oh, I couldn't believe I found it. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. That's crazy. After hours of searching for this, or however long it was, I'm like, I cannot believe I just found it, right? I was so happy to find it. So I get it. I go to the bathroom, break it up. And whenever I break stuff up, I always put a little bit on my finger, and I taste it, right? So I go, break it up like that. I taste it, and I'm like, that's baking soda. I'm like, no. I'm like, tell me this is not fake, right? I'm like, no. I'm like, maybe there's a lot of cut. So I taste it. I'm like, that's pure baking soda. That's not Yayo. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So what the guy did is he gave me a real line, and then switched it, gave me baking soda. Yeah. And so that was his hustle. That's what he was in there doing. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me, right? Whew, I was heated. When I say heated, like the amount of work I had to do to get that money to then get burned, I was so mad, right? And I had pepper spray on me. I always carry pepper spray. And so this is a weekend in Vegas. Vegas is busy. There's millions of people walking around the strip, right? And so I'm like, I'm gonna go looking for this guy. Oh, and guys, I forgot, this is a detail I forgot. So when I went up to meet this guy, I had okay, I'm gonna backtrack a tiny bit. This is right before I met the guy. So I'm walking down the street. I see this dude. He tells me he's holding. I said, all right. I said, can I buy something from you? And he's like, all right, give me the money. So I give him the money. We're walking in a crowd of people. And I said, all right, give me the stuff. He says, all right, let's go over here. I said, no. I said, give me the stuff, man. He's like, all right, come on over here. I said, I said, look, you're either going to give me the stuff right here or you're going to give me my money back. I said, we're not walking. We'd already been walking for like 10 minutes after I gave him the money. I said, look, you're either going to give me the money now or something's going to happen. I said, you're either going to give me the stuff, you're going to give me the money, or I'm going to beat the living crap out of you in broad daylight right here in Las Vegas. And he wouldn't give me either. So I punched him in the face, and he had this hat. It was like the mafia style hat. So I took his hat from him, and he eventually actually gave me my money back. So he gives me my money back, and I kept his hat. So that was a minor detail that I missed. So then when I went in and seen the dude with the BlackBerry, we start talking. I said, you want this hat? He wasn't wearing the hat. That's right. I gave him that. I said, you want this hat? He says, yeah. And he put it on. It actually looked good on him. I don't like those hats. I think they look stupid on me. So I give him the hat, right? So then fast forward, I'm looking, after I realized that I had gotten burned. So I decided that I'm going to look for the guy. I knew it was a long shot. I knew it was going to be impossible, but I'm like, I'll just look around and see if I find the guy, right? So I'm walking up and down, and I look over, and I see the mafia hat, right? That's what gave him away. And I'm like, is that him? I'm looking, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's him. I'm like, yes, right? Keep in mind, guys, in this period of my life, I was in incredible shape. I weightlifted all the time. Because as a gambler, my rule was if I lose my money, then I'm going to go and do 1,000,000 push-ups, and I'm going to go running. And I would lose my money every day. So that's how I got in good shape, from the deal I'd made myself with losing money and working out. So, but it never looked like I never looked like intimidating at all. I always just looked, not intimidating. And so, I see him, and, I have my pepper spray, but I'm not trying to be violent. My plan is to politely ask for my money back. So I go up to him. I said, hey man, I said, remember me? And he gives me that look, right? And he starts taking off his shirt, right? Like he's ready to fight. I said, hold on, man. I said, hold on. I said, look, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. I said, the fake stuff you gave me, I said, forget about it. I said, I just want my $40 back. I said, I had to go to MGM. I said, I won on roulette. I said, I had to go through all this mayhem to get that money. I said, please just give me my money back, and I'll take it and I'll leave. We'll never see each other again. That's it. I said, can we please do that? He doesn't say a word. He takes off his shirt, and he's got his boys over there. You can tell, like, they're just people that he knows. They're not like his boys, but just people like street people. And he's got all these gold chains and silver chains on, right? He's all tatted up. He was jacked. Looked like he'd just gotten out of prison. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm going to beat the living crap out of this dude, for sure. And so he starts, and I'm thinking, I'm like, I'm trying to be very calculative with doing this. I don't want to get arrested. And so the cops in Vegas at the time, they wore yellow shirts that said LVPD, or it said Metro. I'm sorry, Metro. It said Metro. And so, and they're everywhere. They walk around everywhere. And I had seen some, right? And in my peripheral, and I seen them. So I'm like, okay, I gotta let these guys go. They're walking, and they're going in the opposite direction. And so I'm telling the guy, I'm like, nah, man, let's not fight, man. I don't want to fight. I'm just trying to keep talking until the police get far enough away to where we can fight. So I'm like, nah, man, I just want my money back, man. It's cool. So then once the police get out of distance, oh, wait, I'm sorry. Hold on, guys. I'm trying to think how. Oh, yeah. Sorry, guys. Backtracking. So when he's circling me like a boxer, going like this, right? The police came up and they said, "What's going on?" And I said, "Nothing, officer." I said, "Nothing." And the cop pulls me away, and the cop pulls him away, right? And guys, keep in mind, I know you're gonna call me a snitch, but keep in mind, this is before I'd ever been to jail, or I didn't know anything about jail politics. So the cop pulls me aside. He says, "Hey, what's going on?" And I said, "Officer," he sold me some fake weed, and I said, I'm just trying to get my money back." He said, "How much was it?" I said, $40. He says, "Look, kid." He says, "Where are you from?" I said, "California." He says, "Look," he says, "you're not getting your money back." He says, "Why don't you just take a hike and go back to California and, just be on your way." I was like, "Yeah, officer, no problem." I said, "Cool, no problem," right? And so what I do is I go across the street and I hide behind this cement pillar, and the cops are questioning him, and like they are pressing this guy, not about not about our situation, but you can tell like they either know this guy, or like I said, it looked like he had just gotten out of prison, so they're probably running his name. There's probably, who knows what this guy's up to. But they're pressing him. Like, they're making him take off everything. They're searching him. They're running his name. Like, they're there for a good 30 minutes with this guy, like, pressing him about something. And all I'm thinking is, I have my pepper spray, and I'm thinking, please let this guy go. Please let him go. Do not bring him to jail, please. Because I wanted to go hurt him. And so the cops, eventually, they let him go. And they leave, and they go, and that's when I waited for the cops to get out of vision. So the cops leave, and once the cops, and I was talking, the black guy, remember I told you about, I was with the black guy. So I'm with the black guy the whole time that the cops are with him, and I'm telling him, I'm like, dude, I'm gonna pepper spray this guy. He robbed me. I said, I'm gonna get him if the police let him go. And so the cops leave, and he's got his back turned, and I tap him on his shoulder, and he turns around, and so I tap him on the shoulder. I said, "Hey, what's up, bro?" And he turns around, and he looks at me, and I point the pepper spray at him like that. He looked at me like he had this fear. He thought that I was pointing a gun at his face. He didn't know there was pepper spray. He had this fear, like, oh, damn, like his life was flashing before his eyes. He thought it was a gun. And I sprayed him. I went, "Sss." I said, "That'll teach you to rip off tourists." And I run, and I go. There's another part of the story I'm going to get to in just a second. But I went to a hotel room. I'm going to get to this part where how I got the hotel room. So I go to the hotel room, and I change clothes. I put on a different sweatshirt, and because I don't want to be recognized because I'm planning on going back out into town to hustle. And I'm up there because I was waiting because I knew, like, I wanted the area to clear out, right? And when I'm changing, I'm thinking, I'm like, it happened so fast. I'm like, did I even get him? Like, did I even spray him? Did I get him in the eyes? Like, I'm like, I don't even know. I'm like, shoot. So I put on a disguise, and I put a hood on, and I want to walk back to that area to see, like, if he's there. Like, I kind of, I want to see what happened. So I go back, and there's nobody there, right? The guy's gone, and I see the black guy, right? I said, "Yo," I said, "what happened?" He's like, "What do you mean, what happened?" I said, "The dude." I said, "I got him." He's like, "What do you mean?" I said, "Remember I told you I was going to pepper spray the guy who robbed me?" He's like, oh my gosh. He says, that was you? I said, yeah. He says, oh my, he said, I saw the guy. He said he was with security. Security had to hold him because he couldn't walk. He said, I thought the guy got the crap beat out of him. He said his face was all red and he just, he says, I thought somebody beat him up. He says, I didn't know you pepper sprayed him. I said, dude, I told you I was going to pepper spray him. This guy was like, not with it. And so when he told me that, I knew that I had got him good. So I'm like, okay, this is cool. I got him, right? And I felt good. Even though I didn't have my money back, I felt glad that that I had got him. So boom, we're going to backtrack a little bit, guys. So when I was stranded, I called my mom in California. I said, Mom, can you help me, Mom, please? And my mom says, so my sister was in college in Chico. Chico was in Northern California by San Francisco. I said, Mom, I'm stuck in Vegas right now. She says, you're in Vegas? I said, yeah. She says, oh, she says, your sister, my sister was dating this guy named Jimmy, and Jimmy worked for the Marriott. And so Jimmy could get hotel discounts. Well, my sister is on her way from Chico to Las Vegas to go stay at Planet Hollywood the same day that I'm miraculously... Okay, guys, I'm going to tell you how rare this is. My sister is 2 years younger than me, so she's... my sister's 38, so at the time my sister was... I want to say I was 26. My sister's 24 at the time. Maybe I was 20. Maybe, whatever, 21, 20. Whatever it was. Irrelevant. So, my sister has only been to Vegas like 3 times in her entire life. And she just happened to be going to Vegas the day that I'm stranded there. And she happens to be checking into the hotel at the exact time that I'm like stranded, right? So when I say that I went to the hotel, I went to my sister's hotel at Planet Hollywood. And it wasn't just a hotel room. This was a gigantic suite with her and all of her friends, right? Hot friends, like good looking girls, right? And so I tried talking to her friends, right? And her friends, they think I'm nuts. I'm a nutcase. Like they weren't feeling me. They didn't like me, right? And her friends were so pretty, and I kept trying to they're going to go to the club, and I want them to invite me to the club, but they're not trying to invite me. And like, I'm trying to talk to her friends because we're going to be staying in the same hotel room. So I'm trying to I'm looking at these girls as potential girlfriends. They were all very beautiful Mexican girls. They didn't want anything to do with me. So I come up with this elaborate plan. Okay. I don't know. Keep in mind, I wasn't thinking straight, guys. So when you're out on Vegas, they give you these cards, and they're like escort cards, like where you can call and like the girl will come over to your room, right? I don't have any money, right? But my plan is I'm going to call one of these escort girls, and I'm going to invite them over to Planet Hollywood. My sister and her friends were coming back, and they were going to come back to the room in like 20 minutes or whatever it was. And I knew that if I called one of the girls on the cards, I knew they would be there like quickly. So I called, and they're like, and they ask you like what kind of girl you want, and age range, and they tell you price, right? And I said, all right, I want like the most beautiful girl you have, and send her to this room. They're like, where are you at? I said, yeah, I have a suite in Planet Hollywood. It's like, the gigantic suite, and this suite was expensive. So the guy on the phone, he gets, he's thinking, oh, this guy's got money, right? And so I was playing it off like I got money. So my plan is to get this girl over. So what happens is she comes over. I remember her name was, not Destiny, not Savannah. Oh, it was like some exotic name, Saturn or something. I don't know. Well, we'll call her Jupiter, right? I forget. So Jupiter comes over, right? I said, Jupiter. I said, look. I said, this is what I need you to do. I said, my ex-girlfriend is coming back into the room. I said, I need you to pretend that you like me, and I want to make her jealous, and I need you to pretend, like, I need you to, like, put your arms on me. And she's like, well, when are you going to pay me? I said, look, I said, it's just to make them jealous. I said, they're going to leave. I said, then me and you, we're going to do our thing, and then I'll pay you. I said, how much is it? She's like, oh, it's $2,500. I said, no problem. I said, I'll give you $2,500 and then I'll tip you. She's like, okay, right? I don't have a dollar to my name, right? She's like, okay. And so my plan, and so whenever I'm on drugs, I come up with these elaborate plans. So what happens is my sister and her friends come, and Jupiter is like, touching my shoulders, you know what I mean? Pretending that she likes me. And my whole plan is to get the girls jealous, like as if I'm taken and I'm wanted. So I'm so desirable, like, that's what I was trying. I don't know. In my mind, that was the way that I was going to get one of my sister's friends. It doesn't work, but anyways. So, my sister and her friends leave, and then it's just me and Jupiter. And, she's like, okay, well, and she's talking about money. I said, all right, hold on. I said, my friend is playing at the Bellagio. I said, he's playing high stakes. I said, he's going to come over and he's going to give me chips. I said, I don't have the money right now. I said, but my friend, he's got, $1,000 chips. He's going to come over. As you can see, I've got money. See this room, this suite? Yeah, this was $2,500 a night. So he's going to come over and he's going to give me chips and I'll pay you. So I get on the phone, I fake call. I said, hey, yeah, Bobby? Hey, yeah, can you come over and spot me 5,000 of those $1,000 chips? Oh, are you serious? Oh, dude, I wanted to hang out with Jupiter tonight, man. Oh, are you serious? Oh, you're such a lame, Bobby. Bye. So I hang out. I'm like, Jupiter, there's no money. I said, Bobby lost the money. I said, he's not going to help me out right now. I said, what I'll do is I'll call you back in a couple hours when the financial situation changes. You're so lame. I'm out of here. Bye. So then she leaves, right? And yeah, so I'm stuck there. And yeah, so I ended up spending the night in the suite in Las Vegas, and caught a ride back the next day to California. Oh no, we stayed there for another night, ended up leaving the next day. So I ended up the worst of a situation ended up becoming like such a good situation. On the way back, my sister stopped at that big gas station, and I start panhandling to get money, and her friends are just like, oh my gosh, is he asking for money? And so, yeah. And so what a crazy trip that actually, like, I cannot believe my sister bailed me out. That was crazy. But, palabra. And there's actually more to the story. Maybe if you guys want to know about it, hit me up in the comments. And, if you want to know like the rest, there's a few more things that happen, but, palabra. And, yeah, talk to you guys next time.